Upcycling bottles into glassware. This supplement to the free how-to guide takes you through the second step using the swap top flat lap and the swap top router to start finishing the cut edge and to add rims if desired. We've set the flat lap up with a 325 grit lap, and we're going to start finishing our cut edge. We're going to turn the machine on up to speed, make sure we have adequate coolant flow to the lap surface. We're going to start by bringing that cut edge straight down onto the surface of the lap. Once we make contact, you want to start moving it back and forth as well as rotating it, especially if the diameter of the bottle is larger than the lap surface we have to work on. I'm going to keep turning it and moving it back and forth. We're looking for the cut edge to become a uniform frosted appearance. Check by rinsing the edge and holding it up to the light. It should look like it has been evenly sandblasted. If you see any pits, chips, or clear divots, you need to go back and keep grinding and then recheck. Repeat until the entire surface has this uniform frosted look as seen in this image. Here we're going to do one of the angle cut bottles. Same thing. Bring the surface flat down onto the disc, and while holding it, rotate and spin the bottle in different directions. You don't want to grind grooves into the surface. You want a nice uniformly ground edge. You can check your progress by dipping it in some water. We're checking for clear areas, pits, divots, anything that doesn't look like it has been uniformly ground to that frosted look. You can see on the left side we have the look we're looking for. We have a nice uniform surface, whereas the right hand side still needs to be worked. At this point you can skip to final smoothing and polishing, which is down the video further, or you can add rims by knocking off the inside and outside edges. Here's how we're going to create an inner rim using the swap top router shaper set up with a 600 grit ultra fine diamond bit. We're going to remove the back splash guard so we have access to the entire 360 degree work surface around the bit. We want to make sure that our coolant reservoir is filled and our sponge is properly lubricating the bit. We've marked our glass for any highs or low spots. We're also going to mark a start point so that as we rotate it to create this rim, we know where we started and where to finish. We're going to start by tipping it upside down over the bit and then back tip it about 22 to 30 degrees. Starting from our mark, we're going to spin it around that bit. And what we're doing is actually just knocking off that inside edge, making it a little less sharp. We'll use our marks to know when we've reached our starting point. Rinse it off, check the surface. You can continue to grind away as much or as little as you want. Once again, set it over. Tip it and hold it at an angle, and then spin it around that bit. Check your progress. Once you're happy, you can move on to putting an outer rim on. Now we're going to create the outer rim using the swap top flat lap set up with a 600 grit flat lap, and do it freehand or using the angle bar accessory. One option is to hold the glass at that angle against the lap, spinning it around to knock off that outer edge and create an outer rim. Having marks to indicate a start and stop point is helpful. The higher the angle, the less the knockoff. The shallower the angle, the more you will cut back on that outer edge. Another option is to use the angle bar setup. We're going to use the 22.5 60 degree angle bar with the 22.5 degree set against the lap disc. Then you need to just simply take the glass and lower it against the side, keeping it against there. simply spin it and you will grind off a 22.5-degree angle on the back side of the glass. Again, a start and stop point will help you keep track of where you begin and where to end. Keep checking and grind until you have the outer edge you desire. Here you can see how we've knocked off the inner and outer edge to create a rim. Now we're ready to move on to final smoothing and pre-polish. We're going to do this with the flat lap set up with a 600 grit lap. So we installed a 600 grit lap onto our machine. We're going to adjust the drip rate for the coolant so we have a nice steady flow to the lap surface, and then replace the disc cover. Turn the machine up to speed. And then we're going to begin grinding that 325 grit lap surface with the goal of removing those scratches and replacing them with 600 grit lap scratches. I'm going to bring the bottle straight down onto the lap, and then keeping it level, move it back and forth, up and down, and rotate it as you grind away at that 325 grit lap edge. Make sure you keep turning and spinning the bottle. You don't want directional scratches from the diamond grit in the surface of our cup bottle. You're going to periodically rinse it off and check your progress. You're looking for a smooth, even frosted finish. If you see any dark spots, chips, marks, we haven't removed all those 325 grit lines yet, so you want to go back and keep grinding. If it seems like you can't get those marks out, it's possible that they're too deep, and you'll need to go back to the 325 grit lap and return back to the 600 grit lap and finish. What we're looking for is a nice, evenly frosted finish that we can take to final polish. It's also at this point you can choose to leave the edge like this, depending on the purpose of the final project.